Good evening, friends and family, and thank you for coming to another night with Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities behind Black business. In this world of technology, we do run into problems at times, and so we are starting this show 20 minutes late. So many of you who have missed it, it will be up for replay on our website at rrgbc.org. And for those of you that have may just come in or may be coming in, this is going to run over a little more than 9 o'clock because we normally go from 8 to 9. But I want to thank Eugene Dillanado, who is our guest for tonight. He is the founder of Black Pages International, which is a book that has been present here in the Chicago area. I have a picture here of one of his editions. And this is a directory of Black businesses here in Chicago. And this directory has been around for about 36 years. Am I correct, Eugene?
That's right, since 1988.
Since 1988. And so we're going to be talking to Eugene tonight about the Black Pages, about Black businesses here in Chicago. And I feel that he has a very special perception about things because of the fact that he's had this directory out here so long, and he's been working with the community and the businesses, and trying to help us become more aware of the Black businesses in our community. So I want to thank you for coming tonight, Eugene.
Thank you for inviting me, Denise.
Absolutely, absolutely. As you know, we're a nonprofit organization, and we are also working to enhance the awareness and support of Black businesses. And that's why we have this podcast every Wednesday night. We help businesses. We've helped businesses in different ways in terms of trying to help them stay open. We've helped some businesses with some of their websites. And we go to bat for our Black businesses here in Chicago because we feel that it's important that we support them in order to help circulate the dollars and help strengthen our communities. We are great proponents of Black bookstores, and we feature a Black bookstore on our website every month. And for this month, our bookstore is Frontline Bookstore. And we go a little step further by asking that particular bookstore to select a book of the month. And why do we do that? Because we're going to give that book away to one of our subscribers. And all we ask is that you read the book, you share the knowledge from the book. We want you to contact the bookstore. We pay for the shipping and the cost of the book. And all you have to do is subscribe to rrgbc.org. Knowledge is power. Information is power. And we need that. And I know we have a lot of readers out here, which is a great thing. And so that's why we do this book giveaway every month. And the book that was chosen by Frontline for this month is The Groundings with My Brothers by Walter Rodney. Now, Walter Rodney is a Guyanese intellectual activist. He led movements in North America, South America, Africa, and the Caribbean, and he supported the working class. He taught how to think politics on an international scale, and he offers firsthand accounts in this book of mass movement organizing, and he inspired a generation of revolutionaries. I think this is a wonderful and very enlightening read. And if you would like to win a copy of this book All you have to do is go to rrgbc.org and subscribe. Also, we support the Southside Community Federal Credit Union, which is a Black owned financial institution here in the Chicago area, and they have been serving our community for over 20 years. In order for a bank and financial institution to thrive, we have to open up accounts. So we ask that you open up an account at the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. They're located at 55th and Wentworth, right there in the shopping mall. They offer loans and all other types of financial packages. So please give them a call. Please give them a visit and support the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. So tonight we're going to talk about Black Pages International, who, as we stated earlier, has been in effect since 1988. And Mr. Eugene Dillanado is the founder of this Black Pages, and it's also offered on print and online. And so, Eugene, I would like you to first of all let people know where they can get a copy of this directory, how they could get a copy of it online, and where they might purchase it in print.
Well, I urge you to go to our website, which is blackpagesinternational.com, and let us know that you want a copy of the publication. You can actually purchase the book on the site. So those of you who want to get a copy of the print publication, simply go to www.blackpagesinternational.com and enter your information, and we will gladly send a copy to you. In addition to that, some of the previous copies, if you visit that website, you'll see publications going back several years. So you'll be able to peruse those businesses, those publications, and you'll see that we have been at it for quite a while. Let me correct you, I'm not the founder.
Okay.
I started with this company in 2000. The founder is the legendary Arnett French. And French started in 1988, and he gave me a system, and I simply have followed in his footsteps. And so I want to be clear about that.
Okay.
But nonetheless, visit our website, purchase a copy of the directory, but more importantly, hold yourself, well, I hold myself accountable in terms of supporting the businesses that I serve. There are hundreds of businesses in the publication. And if those of you, we urge you to get a copy of the publication and to establish a relationship with that business and begin to invest your dollars in that business so that when your dollars goes into that business's coffers, when you need a scholarship for your child or some input for your child or loved ones, you can go back to that business and say, I've made an investment here, and then those dollars, and then you work out an arrangement where those dollars come back to you. And it's really as simple as that.
Well, that's something that I did want to talk to you about. Um, but before we do that, I would like to know what inspired you to go on this journey to create a directory like this. What were you looking at, and why did you find that this was necessary?
Well, as I stated, the directory was created by someone who saw the need.
Mm-hmm.
And I happen to be a man who grew up in a community where there were grocery stores, there was a connection between the businesses in that community. Many of you may know the legendary um, who owned the grocery store, um, Mr. Evans. Um, Mr. Evans, when I was 7 years old, he had a grocery store on 46th and Forestville. And so I could come out of my back door. In fact, my great auntie would make me, and I delighted in it. I would run down the alley and I would be on my way to Mr. Evans' store. And when I got to Mr. Evans' store, sometimes I would tell Mr. Evans, give us 50 cents worth of boiled ham and give us 50 cents worth of cheese. And my mama says she'll pay you such and such on such and such a date. And so because we had a relationship with Mr. Evans, we could do that. And that was the rule. There were many, many grocery stores and other businesses in our communities in the mid 50s and in the 60s and so on and so forth. And so I think we're aware of what happened in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s up to this very hour in terms of how that was disconnected, how that was dismantled. But if you are cognizant and if you are aware that you must govern yourself, then you can turn that around. And so, first of all, I have to be an example of that in my household. I have to be an example enough in other people so that they are inspired by my behavior. And so, that is a solution that I offer those of you who are listening tonight.
Okay. And so, as you were inspired when, okay, this was 36 years ago, I know back in the 70s, we had a huge immigration of people from Korea. And then the Arabs came in and set up a lot of businesses in our communities. And that was one problem. Um, and then we had people. There were drugs, in our community. So I don't know why our people did not continue to support our businesses. I'm not exactly sure why many of our businesses just folded. I don't know if it was because of a lack of people not supporting them, or how much of it was a lack of resources that they needed to continue to start businesses, or a lack of capital that was needed to sustain their businesses. But it happened, and it was very detrimental to our community. And as you mentioned earlier, a business, having establishing a relationship with a business in the community is very important, and it's a very powerful um, entity to have going on in the relationship, because as you stated, you gave one example where you could have a business. They can take the profits that they're making, and they can create scholarships for individuals in the community. So here we're talking about fostering economic power, and it helps to create more jobs. I was reading where, with a black business, even though we have less black businesses, the black businesses that we do have, they're more likely to hire, uh, on the average, 85% black people to work for their business. So that's in one instance that they're able to create jobs. And like some of these larger companies, you look at big companies like Nike, uh, you know, that Walmart. Now they have big dollars, but even smaller businesses are able to create charitable foundations and funds. Um, I've seen some examples, Eugene, where they're raising money by matching dollars if you come and you purchase certain items from their store. You spend a certain amount of money, they can match the dollars, and those dollars can go to a particular fund or organization in the community, creating volunteer programs, and even creating community benefits agreements where they can bring down the cost of items. I think I've given examples on here a number of times where there are some stores that I have gone to where I would purchase an item, a similar item in my community, and go to another community, and it's $100 less. And that's because of an agreement that they have with the community. Um, and so those are just some ways that a business can give back to the community. And I want to say, since you are in this business of trying to increase and improve this relationship that we have you seen a lot of this as well, more so with the black businesses than you would see with other businesses in our community?
Well, I have a relationship with many, many businesses, and
Mm-hmm.
each relationship is different. I have with one business owner, that relationship may be a little more intimate. It may be a little more trusting. It may be a little more long term.
Mm-hmm.
It's the business owner's responsibility to be creative and to add value to his product or service. It's the business owner's responsibility to do that. And so I've asked myself this question: which is greater, demand or supply? And
Mm-hmm.
so my answer for me, and this may not necessarily be your answer, it's demand. And so um, when there's enough demand, a product will be created, a service will be created. And so I move from that premise that I am a creator and I create ideas and opportunities from my imagination. And so um, during my lean periods is when I lost sight of that. And when I started to discount myself and engage in negative self talk, those created lean periods in my business. And so it's a daily challenge for me to wake up that self talk to the extent that I can go out and cultivate new clients and create relationships and make friends all the time. And so that is the difference, in my opinion, from the community in 2024 and the community that I grew up in 1954. And so the challenge
So
still.
so are you saying that, because as you're talking, I'm thinking about when you say the demands and and the needs of the people, and I look at our businesses, and I look at the types of businesses that we have, and I look at the types of businesses that other people have in our community, and in particular the as I mentioned earlier, the Arab and Korean stores. I look at what they offer: gas stations, hotels, grocery stores, uh, supply chains, and the what else is it? The I don't want to say a particular name, but the cell phone, the stores where you go and get your cell phones.
They make a
Lots of those types of businesses they have. Our industries seem to be different.
And
it
why is
makes
that?
me wonder when our businesses meeting the needs and the demands of the people, because we're typically not having those. We've got the barbershops, the beauty shops, the restaurants, the boutiques, you know.
Why? So my why is because an individual has decided to go into that type of business because he or she may believe that he cannot compete in those other areas. And so there was a time when I was a child when blacks people owned many gas stations. And
Absolutely.
so it goes back to, um, from my experience, um, we still don't have a circle of businesses who meet privately and who pool their resources and make a decision to enter into those arenas. And so that's why I said that we have shifted to do events, and we do events in order to get to know other businesses in those particular areas. So when you pick up the directory, you have an opportunity to call one of the businesses and to develop a relationship with him or her. And many of those who have received the Black Pages for decades, I would challenge them, many of them don't do that. And so simply by doing that, simply by opening it up and making a phone call and not guessing in terms of the products and the services, because when you decide to establish a relationship, then you go to that business and you decide what you want. And that business owner lets you know what they want out of the exchange. And then you work out an agreement where both of you benefit. And that's the difference between what I see happening with the other ethnicities. They start from that framework. They're not guessing about who's out there in business. So I would dare say that that if you simply opened the book and did that, the book has been around for decades. And I know businesses that I service, they don't even know, many of them, some of the other businesses, because they're so much in the habit of working in their business. There may be a friend in the business right next door, and they haven't taken the time to develop a relationship with the business right on the same block. So that's the first step. So those other ethnicities, they do that first. That's the first step.
Now, you
So
know, I hear Brother Yoel that owns the underground bookstore on 87th Street, and I'm sure you know him.
yes.
And he has made that statement many times that people come into the community, they open up a business, and right next door to him or down the street from him, you know, and he will go and reach out, even to some of the well established businesses, but it's not reciprocated. And it's so much that they could do to help one another if they did work together. And
Well,
you mentioned pooling, coming together and pooling resources together. And I think that's a key element, because when you look at your competition, that's all they're doing is pooling their resources together.
so my response is to do that without ceasing, to do it every day, to do it with the expectation. See, there's a difference. To do it with the expectation that you're going to win, that you may encounter 9, 10 no's, but in the end, you're going to get one, because I move from the premise that I am a magnet. I draw certain experiences to me, and they're all good, whether they may seem bad, but the bad will turn me into another direction. So I look at all of them that way to such an extent that it is 2024 and Black Pages International is shifting. We now do events, and we do events for that purpose, young and old. I said that we're doing an event November 1st in Country Club Hills at the Atrium. And this is a stage play that is an episode. And the episode is based on two 10-year-old girls who decide when they're 10 on their woodlawn porch that they are going to be educators and that they are going to be sorority girls. And they are inspired by their two young adult aunties who are already sorority girls and already teachers. And so they set out then in 1959, and we watched them in 69 and 79 and 89 to see what they did. And so we did that deliberately because I said, Denise, for me, if I'm not able to activate the child in me, then I'm going to lose because the child believes that anything is possible. And the child is always going with that type of energy. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and it's your responsibility to be able to maintain that and to sustain that. And so, uh, right at this point now, there are individuals in the community, no matter how blighted, that are doing that. And it's my responsibility to find them. And I find them. Now, um, what I'm hoping will happen for those of you who are listening, that you take account of the self talk that you are engaged in, that you take account of the things that you say about yourself and other people and manage that because everything is connected. You think that it doesn't go anywhere, but it does go somewhere and you receive it the very next day. So, the few of us who are disciplined like that, we need to meet privately and we need to set out some goals. And we need to, at the end of the day, at the end of the week, to readjust so that we realize those goals, understanding that we are capable with our imagination to accomplish anything, anything.
Well, those are great words of wisdom. Now, you say you have, I know you talked about this play, and I do want to give you an opportunity to talk about it more before we close tonight. But also, you said that you're having events. So, can you reiterate the purpose of your events again? Because you do have the Black
Okay.
Pages out, you do have the directory out, and that's to get the information out here to our people about these businesses that do exist in Chicago, um, in the Chicago area. And but what is the purpose of your events?
To get to know other extensions of myself, to find out, do we want the same things? Are we going in the same direction? And are we willing to pay the price to get what we want? So each time I meet someone, I invariably ask them the same question: what do you
Mhm.
want? Because my
Okay.
position is, if you don't want anything, I can't help you and you can't help me. So I'm on to the next person. And so I do that on a daily basis. And I know many, many businesses, there's so much opportunity out here that if I privately shared with you the opportunity that's out here, you would be amazed
Mm-hmm.
that you're walking right past these opportunities. And so contrast that to people who are just coming to the country. They look at it differently. They see all of these immense opportunities. And
Yes, they
so
do.
Yes, they do. So something happened to you. Just as I said, sometimes something happens to me and I'm depressed for a day or an
Mm-hmm.
hour or a week. But I can't be depressed very long if I'm going to maintain the status of life that I inherited. I mentioned that the legendary Arnett French used to say to me, Eugene, you need to raise your level of expectation.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did he mean? He meant that I expected to lose. I didn't expect to win. So, I had to raise my level of expectation. And so, that's an individual responsibility for you, Denise, for me. And so now I let Denise make those decisions and aspirations for her. Because if she's doing it correctly, then I'm talking to her on a publicly aired show that many people are tuning into. So she created that. Someone created that out of your imaginations. So imagination is still king. So that's why um, when I went back to that formula, then I started to win again. And I can tell you from my perspective, I win all the time.
Okay.
And I look for other people who are winning all the time. And so when I ask them what they want, they can tell me enthusiastically and with energy. And they can sustain that because you have to sustain it. Every day is a brand new opportunity. And so, those of you who are listening, um, we're sharing this publicly, but we need to meet privately. We need to set some goals, and we need to say to ourselves that we're not going to stop until this goal is realized. And then we set another goal, and another goal, and another goal. And to the point that we have rebuilt our the atmosphere in our household, in our neighbor's household, in the household next to that, and on that block. And we're saying that the kinds of things that we don't want to happen, it doesn't happen on this block. You can take that to the other block if you really want to do it. But on this block, it doesn't happen. And so on and so forth. And it's a great opportunity because there's so much need out there, isn't it? It's just so much need out there.
It's tremendous. It's really tremendous. And you know, when you look at the fact that small businesses are the greatest wealth creations for this country, and everybody that comes here set up businesses, and like you said, something happened to our consciousness in terms of, you know, working together. I recall having Out of the Past Records
Mm-hmm.
on our podcast, which is a record shop on the West Side, and they've been there for almost 60 years.
I go there all the time.
Okay, you know who I'm talking about.
I know
And I
exactly.
spoke with the owner, and
Marie.
she told me, she said when she first started, when she came here to Chicago, she had 10 businesses, you know, which it was hard for me to wrap my brain around somebody owning 10 businesses, but she had 10 businesses.
Yeah.
And also during her conversation, she mentioned how if there was something that she didn't have in her establishment, she had other people that she could pick up the phone and call and find out if they had it and send the customer to them.
And so we can
I don't
still
know too many people that do that today. At least I have
no,
not had that
no, no,
experience.
no, 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 no. Here's what I'm saying to you. Here's my asset. There are business owners who do that. I
Okay.
know Marie. I go out there frequently.
Mm-hmm.
So I have
Mm-hmm.
a circle of businesses that I will introduce you to. And you could just start with 10. And so I'm a I'm not a small business. I think big. You may
Okay.
look at me like I'm a small business, but I'm not operating like a small business. I've got big ideas, big energy, and I only hang out with those who express the same. If you don't hang out, if you don't express that, I may see you today, but you won't see me tomorrow. And so right now, it's a huge opportunity, Denise. Wake those who are in your circle. This is what happened tonight. We stumbled along and almost gave up, but we decided that we were going to stay connected until we really connected, and here we are. So the
Right.
so the audio is here. So maybe next week that'll be the visual, but I'll say that when I say events, I start offering an invitation at the event on November 1st. There are going to be about 200 people out there. And those are 200 people, many of them some of them I've known since grammar school, since high school. Some business owners, I've known them 5 years, 10 years. I've helped them pay their mortgages, put their children through school. Some of them I have that kind of a relationship with. So if I ask them for $25, $25, $150, what? Because I've given you. And so we rekindle that circle. So those of you who are listening, if you have some family and some friends, challenge them on that. But first of all, challenge yourself. Because just because they're in your family, they may not reciprocate this particular day. They may not reciprocate until tomorrow or the next day or not at all. But here is how my belief system has shifted. Yes, I have this beautiful black skin, but I'm connected to everybody. I make friends with everybody. Every
Mhm.
day, I make new friends. And those who are real, real close to me, and those who may not because I just don't know them as well, and they may not know me as well, but I work at it. And so that's the formula that I offer to those of you who are listening, that you raise your level of expectation about you and about others. And then you start to communicate with them and ask the question, well, what do you want? When do you want it? Why do you want it? Because the why, if the why must be bigger than the want, because the why has made me get up when I fell down, and I fall down a lot, but I get up.
Well, I think that same energy, I would say, Eugene, is something that does permeate amongst our people because based on the experiences that we have had and continue to deal with, we're still here. And there are businesses, still popping up. I was letting people know, they were thinking we didn't have any more black bookstores. And I'm like, no, we used to have 22 black bookstores in
Yep.
Chicago. We don't have 22. We were down to two or three, but they have maintained, they have sustained themselves. And then we have more black owned bookstores that have been opening up.
Mm-hmm.
And I began to name them to people, and they're like, well, I didn't know about that place. But you have to seek out what you're looking for and what you're wanting. And I'm always seeking out black businesses because I want that relationship. um that's just the way that's part of my upbringing, and it's part of my desire to have relationships. And I understand that reciprocal um, um, communication and how important that is and how impactful it can be to the community itself.
So if you're an A personality, let's right now, I'm only looking for the A personalities because I've been doing this a long time. And so then the A personalities teach the B personalities, and the B teach the C's, because all of us have something that's indispensable that we cannot do without. And so I
Mhm.
don't dish people because as soon as I dish them, then they say, well, oh, you need this. Well, I got this, but do you dish me? Don't you remember? So now everybody is very, very important. So I've shifted to that mindset, and that wasn't
Mhm.
always my mindset. So, so,
Okay.
so, so now that, and I constantly work to improve it. So now, who am I really? I'm a little 7-year-old boy that I was when I was in second and third grade. I'm really that little boy. I'm curious. I'm seeking out new friends all the time. And although I'm a writer, I'll tell you why I shifted over. I I came to believe that people aren't reading as much and applying what they read. So I've written some books and I didn't have a lot of success in writing those books. So I said, well, this is what you're going to do. You're going to stage these characters. You're going to bring these characters to life on
Mhm.
stage. And after you've done that and benefited from that revenue, then you're going to take it to TV and to film. And so that's precisely what I'm doing. So you're going to see some characters because when I grew up in the 1950s, those people may not have had the same level of dollars and cents, but they were all characters, all of them.
Oh, yes.
And they were up early in the morning expressing those characteristics. And I love every one of them. And I'm here because of the sacrifices that they made for me. And so these stories are really about them. And so when the
Mhm.
Spirit started giving me, one night, the Spirit woke me up and said, Sigma Girl.
Mm.
And so where did Sigma Girl come from? And so when I started doing my research, these characters burst out. And these characters are all winning characters. These characters all played a vital role in the health and wealth of our community. And you're going to see some of them if you come out on November 1st to see Sigma Girl. You're going to see some of these characters dancing and singing and laughing and interacting. And I hope that you see some of yourself and some of your ancestors because where I live, nothing dies. Nothing.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So I don't, and uh,
Absolutely.
so what if, and that's what's happening now. What if just 10 of us got together? So that's the goal. So you go get one and you challenge another one to go get one. And let's just meet up. Let's just those of you listening, let's just meet up and let's talk for a little bit and let's set some goals and let's keep it moving just like that. And so I guarantee we do that for the rest of this year and set some goals for 2025. By December 31st, 2025, you're going to see we're going to be a lot better off. And then we're going to take it to 2026, 27, 28, 20, because I'm dealing with some 10-year-olds. So when they're 20, they're going to say, Mr. Dillanado, I know you 95 now, but we're going to help you because we remember when you helped us.
Mhm.
So I'm just bridging generation after generation. But I was always like that. When I was a little boy, 7, when I would go to see the picture show, when we came back, I couldn't wait to get back to my backyard and say, he shot so and so, and we would recreate everything. And lo and behold, years later, I'm a skilled writer and storyteller. And I'm doing exactly what I love. I would do this if you didn't pay me. But now I expect to be paid millions of dollars because my stories are worth that. Because when you see these characters, you're going to be inspired. You're going to be enthralled. You're going to be willing to get up off your rusty dusty and take some actions that benefit you and others. It has to benefit other people more than it benefits you. And when you're doing
Mhm.
that, then you're in sync.
So your play, is
Sigma
going
girl.
to Sigma Girl is going to start on Friday, November the 1st at 8
Yes,
p.m.
yes.
And this is the first episode.
This is the first episode. Do you remember last night, night before? 24 robbers at
Flowers
my
at
door.
my door. Yes, I
Right.
do.
Okay. So we started that to speak to the baby boomers. So we out playing just before the street lights come on. You know what happened when the street lights come on? Your butt got to be in.
That's
So
right.
we start right there. And
And
so,
where is this play going to be?
the exact address
It's
is
the atrium. The atrium.
the atrium 4147 to 4153, 183rd, the atrium in Country Club Hills.
And the tickets are $25.
The tickets are $25. I can tell you, we're half sold out. So I don't know if you're going to miss this one, but here's what's happening because there's so much of a demand for the rebuilding of our community.
Did you say
So
you half? Did you say you half sold out, or
we're
you don't
half
have any
sold
more?
out. The venue seats 200. We're about halfway sold out. So we
Oh,
don't
okay.
know. So if when you go to the website, I would urge you to buy your tickets now, because
And what
we're
is your
making
website
history.
again? What is your website again?
www.blackpagesinternational.com.
Okay.
Everybody else has counted us out.
And a lot of us have counted us out, but
No,
then
no,
there
no.
are still, the
Yeah,
reason I know is what you're saying
yeah,
is true because
yeah.
there's so many people out here who are doing the work that needs to be done. You're one of them. And,
So
you know, it's just not enough. We're not always connecting the dots, but we're still here because of that, you
so
know.
here's my strategy. Connect the dots. I just
Hmm.
quietly connect the dots.
Hmm.
And then you look up where there was one of me, now there's 10, now there's 20, now there's 100. So 100 times 100, you just put up $100, that's $10,000 right there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And really that may be where some of our trust level is, just $100.
Hmm.
But so we meet you where you are. And so
And I
then
think that's something that we do have to rekindle. Is our trust
mhm.
in each other. Um, it is a mindset. It is a
So,
mindset that is keeping us in the situation that we're in.
well,
And
see, I started off by saying that you have to trust yourself
mhm.
enough to be such a magnet and to have so much energy that you trust that what you want will be realized. I can't control your trust. I can't control how you trust Denise. I can only control mine. And so I believe so much. When the spirit gave me Sigma Girl, you have no idea the agony I go through every day to get this show up. You have no idea how many fears I have to get through to make sure that this show goes up. And that's every day. It's an everyday challenge. But that that only makes new muscles grow. That only
Mhm.
makes you expand because your my identity really I'm the universe.
Mhm.
No, I am the universe. The universe flows through me. So if I sit down, it appears like the universe is not flowing through me, but the universe is flowing through me. I've just blocked it for a minute. So
And
no,
that's why I've always believed that if it's something that you want to do, once you put that first step forward,
yes,
the universe opens up for you.
yes,
And if nobody's saying that everything is going to go smooth, which is what you're saying, but that's not the point. You're now on your journey to create, bring into fruition what you have in your mind to do. And then it becomes a journey because you never know what twists and turns you're gonna have to deal with. But it's a journey
yes.
and it becomes a beautiful journey if you hold on to the dream. And as you mentioned, children and their sense of imagination. which is why music and art and the ability to play and interact with each other is so important for them, because it helps to fuel that and expand their imaginations. And that's something that we can't lose as adults. It's a beautiful thing to still have the little boy right there inside of you, um, and which I'm sure had some impact on you getting involved with Black Pages on some point. To think that you could do that, and now you're on to creating events to try to find other ways of bringing people, or more ways, let's say, not other, but more ways of bringing people together, because that's what it's going to take.
Yes.
So I'm very appreciative of the work that you're doing. Definitely will be getting tickets to the play. We have posted your flyer on our website at rrgbc.org, and where people can connect with you and get tickets to this play. And with the Black Pages book itself, I know it's in different businesses uh, throughout Chicago. Can you name some of the places where people might be able to go and pick up your book?
Um, the Culture Connection 360 on the 71st Street. Um, on the west side, there is a uh, Duell's Fish Store and Restaurant.
Hmm.
Um, Ted London's office on 87th Street.
Okay.
Um, the Glass Store on 87th, right off of what is that, Halsted. Um, those are some of the drop sites. Hidden Manor out in where the not Country Club Hills. They're in
Oh
Matson.
yeah, that's that really nice restaurant. And
Yeah,
they serve Cajun food, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've been there several times.
And so what's needed, however, is for those of you who are listening, establish a relationship with the business owner and then begin to look at yourself differently. Everybody should be in business for themselves. Um, the reality for me is the business of America is business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm in the business of living a highly successful and happy and healthy life and sharing that with everyone I can share it with. And so I urge those of you who are listening to do the same for yourself. And so as we do that and reach out for each other, we will rebuild individuals, households, blocks, communities, towns, cities, and states. That's my ambition. Um, I will, at some point when we talk again, I'm going to share with you a location that I found that it's a city within a city. I couldn't believe that it exists right now. It's already there. And all it needs is people. So we're going to be providing tours for you to see this menu. And when you see it, you're going to be so amazed,
Wow.
and it already exists. And so, what's my point? My point is that they already exist, but many of the people who left Chicago, who fled to the suburbs, I'm talking about those who fled first,
Mm-hmm.
many of them will not come back to the inner city. They won't go any farther than maybe 95th Street, and then they get right back in. And there are so many gems, so many opportunities, you wouldn't believe it. But because I grew up the way that I grew up, I don't have that same kind of fear. Now, I'm not a fool. I don't go in these communities at certain hours, at certain times. I
Mhm.
know to speak up kids when I see them, so I'm smart about that. But you have to, because in those very communities, there are gems,
Yes, there are. Yes,
and
there
other
are.
ethnicities are picking up those gems and profiting from it. And it
That's
may
right.
be your fault because you're allowing fear.
Everybody's coming to Chicago.
Yeah, yeah. So, so,
Everybody's coming to Chicago.
so, um, those of you who are listening, please, um, call me up, email me, get to know me. Let's have lunch. Let's have breakfast. Let's hang out. Let's find out what you want. Let's form a team. Let's take over. Take over what? The world,
That's right.
the whole world. But I'm not. Come on. So, um, I'm going to say this and shut up. Sometimes I get angry during Black History Month. And why am I angry? Why do I have these moments? Because you're talking about all these great things we did back then. Well, I want to take these great things and apply it to the now. So the Sankofa bird flies forward. He or she looks back and gets the best of that, but he takes it and applies it to the now because he or she, whatever the Sankofa's uh, actually is, knows that the now, right now, is creating tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a very inspiring conversation. We did talk some about what is happening in terms of the relationship with the people in the community and the businesses and why it's so important, how impactful it can be, and it's all about bringing us together, and working together and supporting each other. And you're taking it on with this directory, the Black Pages International here in Chicago, and then you're taking it to another level with your play. So I'm definitely looking forward to continuing to work with you and supporting your efforts. And we just have to do what we need to do.
Absolutely, Denise. So I'm
Absolutely.
so grateful to have met you, and I'm just learning a little bit about who you are. There's much that I still don't know, and so that's what I'm talking about in terms of beginning to meet publicly, and then let's meet privately, and let's decide um, what is it that we want to do. And so I want to live a long, healthy, happy, and wealthy life. And that's going on right now. I'm living, I'm enjoying heaven on earth. I don't know about, I'm enjoying it right now.
I know that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, family, we have been talking to Eugene Dillanado. If you've seen the Black Pages International in some of the stores here in Chicago, and this is a directory of Black businesses. This has been around for 36 years, and we've been talking about how important it is for us to come together, support one another, the impact that the businesses can have on our quality of life. And we need to be starting businesses.
Yes.
So, thank you again, Eugene, for coming. I want you, family, to go to rrgbc.org, subscribe to our website. Frontline Bookstore again has recommended for our book giveaway, The Groundings with My Brothers by Walter Rodney. If you want to win a copy of that book, please become a subscriber. And actually, we also ask you to go to Change Black Bookstores, Chicago.org at Change. Save Black Bookstores, Chicago at change.org. That's right. And we ask you to sign that petition because we're trying to get contracts for our Black bookstores. But most of all, please keep in mind that it is very important that you support Black businesses. That will help to circulate the dollars in our community, that will help to strengthen our communities. So with that, I'm going to say good night.
Good night.